Welcome to another episode of The Actor's Perspective from CastableNYC. Today we're talking about Ionesco's Rhinoceros. A lot of it is based off of his experience growing up during the height of World War II. It has always been read, he has kind of said that it's a statement on the growth of Nazism going across Western Europe.
Era. Like if I were producing this today, putting in a different era would be really, really fun and smart.
It just sounds like human behavior, like this.
And a lot of the elements that they kind of with Kafka's metamorphosis.
What I'll say about it is I love that it is still relevant so much to today's society. Like, so one of the things I do want to ask you guys as performers, how would you approach this? How is what aspects do you think you would find difficult? What aspects do you really think you would love to dive in and play with?
I would say definitely. I mean, this is. I know we say this for every role that you get, but being extremely present, not only in the play, but like finding moments in your own maybe personal history where you've had to deal with some of the issues that they've brought up in the play. Maybe reliving some of your moments where you felt like you need to conform to the bully in school, or like you needed to you know do something to fit in. And I think maybe tapping into those old memories, because I feel like we all have had that moment where you kind of broke and just gave in to something, you know what I
Yeah,
mean? So,
I think that's a good point. I like the idea. I like the idea of being kind of in the bullies gang without realizing it. It's like this is more for my protection than anything else.
right, right.
Um, and I think attributing this as an actor, like obviously with Jean, like the transformation into a rhinoceros. So much of this play is like you better have a really good costuming budget to go to town. But I think as a performer, trying to accept the absurdism of this reality
Yeah,
is probably where I would find the most difficulty. Like
that would be my thing too.
I can't imagine standing on stage and listening to the logician talk about how Socrates is a cat would go without me trying to not laugh in his face through the first couple of weeks of rehearsal. Anyway,
If I had to do the horn noises and the growls and stuff and the body movements, I think of it during a transformation, that'd be my problem.
Shio, go ahead.
So I actually would look forward to doing the market scene, the first scene, just because I actually kind of found it a little. I know this isn't really a funny play, but I found it really comedic and sad at the same time because it's like it's an example, like I said earlier, of how like you have that hive mentality. There was so much going on, and every time a rhino came through town, they were just like, oh, the dead cat, and they would like huddle. The stage directions show that they had like little groups formed. You had the groups with the philosophers, and then the groups with like the townspeople, and then you had our two main characters kind of having their moment. But it was such like a it was like having a Greek chorus kind of thing. They all talked over each other, and it was like supposed to be like this, like it was almost like these beats, and they were supposed to be like instantaneous almost, and just having like the absurdity of we have rhino sounds and dust. There's a lot of stage direction for dust really accumulating on the stage, but we're just like in our little clique, with our mentality of we're conforming with just like, we're going to ignore that. We're just going to pretend that didn't happen. The Nazis did not invade Poland. And we're just like here and just like, oh, the cat is dead. And I know it's not meant to be funny, but like in my mind, I feel like it is kind of like a bit of a comedic break to kind of
Oh.
throw you off of the
Mhm.
how philosophical and deep this play really is, you know. I would really be interested in like being part of that little crazy Greek chorus.
So one thing that I think I want to jump in, and Tyler, I'll let you get to the question, just because Shio, you mentioned it a few times, the Greek chorus. That's one of when I was doing research on the play. That's one of Ionesco's subtle hints at conformity throughout it all.
Oh,
This is specifically in that first market scene. There are 7 or 8 lines every time that every character except Berenger says, and
and they repeat.
immediately you're given that hint of the ohs, ahs, ooh, a rhinoceros, oh no, poor thing. All of those that are repeated, he's laying in those hints of that level of that fear of conformity and how it can transform you very, very early on in the play. But you're also right, like the beauty of the theater of the absurd, and so much of it is you will be laughing, and then you'll think about this later on and go, oh man, he hit some really, really good points, but whew, it was a lot of fun getting there.
Yeah, and it's kind of like how you were saying, like, and this is also, sorry, Tyler, I jumped again.
No, I mean, Ethan hit on most of it, but continue.
But it's like it goes back to like how, you know, Hitler had his whole propaganda. Like it was very subtle, you know, at the very beginning of the play. It's very, very subtle. You know, it's like how you just said with the oohs and ahs, and it's like they were all repeating and doing the same thing. And it's such a subtle transition to like when you realize at the end of the play, I was like, oh, well, I found that funny. Now I realize how sad that was. And I didn't realize until now I'm at the end. And it's almost like the same thing how it was for, you know, people when the Nazis were coming, they were just kind of like, oh, we didn't realize how serious Hitler was. Or, you know, when Trump got elected, we didn't realize he could actually get elected, you know, and it's like you don't realize until like the very end, you're just like, oh, this wasn't actually funny. You know, I thought it was amazing. I love that.
Yeah.
This is going to be so funny to chop up. It's like, Nazi,
So-
we're laughing. I'd be laughing. Like, oh.
So Tyler, as a performer, how would you go about performing in this play? What do you think you would find the difficulties, and what parts do you think you would really enjoy playing?
Personally, Jean in that, first of all, the role of Jean is just kind of fun. It's especially in the Act 2, Scene 2. I apologize. But piggybacking off of what Shio said, yeah, that Greek chorus moment is so fun. Like nail to a hammer to a nail on a board. You just hit on it, and I just wanted to reiterate how just poignant and smart it was. But a role that I think would be fun and or difficult to do would be Jean. I mean, Jean is a very grandiose person as we meet him in Act 1, Scene 1. And is while he notices and takes part of the rhinoceros situation in the first act, in the next act he is like, it didn't happen, because he's already started to the conformity of it. The whole part of his voice is getting hoarser and hoarser, as in the stage direction, like that's hard. But the whole magical side of it, of his skin gets greener and greener and greener and greener, like throughout the scene, without a makeup artist coming in and being like, all right, you're green now. Oh, you're greener. Look how green you are, is really, really fascinating. But again, I think it's possibly, while it's a stage direction, an idea of the audience watching it. Being greener, its sense is maybe not a greener in skin color, but a greener of a personality. Green can be the idea of envy, the idea of greed, the idea of what does green mean to you? Green can mean anger. I mean, look at the Hulk. The Hulk is green for a reason. So
Actually, a printing
greener
problem
may not be a color thing, but it could be a personality thing. So with the idea of the director taking the approach of like, what is green? What is greener? What is getting the most green as you can be green? And going with it. Now the whole forming of the rhinoceros horn, that's its own costume / like special effects thing. And again, that could be an actor's thing. There's like, what is having a horn? Being horny. I mean, take that as you will. Honestly, let's be real. But being someone with a horn, what is your idea of being a horn? Are you pointier? Are you more subtle? Are you something else? I think the stage directions, while they are as plainly as possible given to us as they can be interpreted in a different way. Again, since it's theater of the absurd, I cannot speak keenly to that because I didn't write this play and it's the play's wishes.
No, I think that's a really great point with all of it. Like, I think coming from a performer aspect, so much of this play would be difficult because there's so many levels to it. And I think coming from a director, my first question immediately would be like, what's my budget? Because it's going to definitely influence whatever decisions I make.
I won't lie. As a director, even if I had a super low budget, I would be that director who would ask like a stagehand to come in specifically for the scene that I was talking about and be like, he gets greener, to come in and be like, you're greener. Like specifically come in and like make someone greener as they go. Because because a part of theater of the absurd, closely to theater of, oh God, not realism. What theater I'm thinking of? Brecht. What did Brecht do? Basically, he wanted to show that you were a part of a play.
Yes.
I can't remember exactly what the theme of.
I'm on it. Give me a second. You just keep talking.
Take your time. Yes, you're right. Basically, they wanted you to know you were part of a play. I would push it more in a Brechtian style, where it's like, yes, you are seeing a part of a play. A person comes in and shows that this person is getting greener by putting more green on their skin. Play. But like, take the whole bare bones of the stage away. Show people you are watching a play. This play has a message. Get the message by the end of the play, which is what, I mean, in a sense, what Brecht wanted people to have.
Yeah. The word you were looking for was the epic theater.
Thank you.
That Brecht did. Epic theater, for those who may not know, is essentially what others said, the way of stripping the theater down and showing you that you are in a theater. The world you're watching is not real, and you need to understand that.
So it's like breaking the fourth wall.
Yeah. So essentially, he would create a distancing effect. So instead of hiding the lighting rig or dressing the stage so you couldn't see the curtains or the wings, they would let all of that sit out. So you, instead of getting invested in the characters, what you would get invested in is what he's trying to teach you.
Yeah, the message of what's behind being told.
Yeah.
Now, given that this is a play, an absurdist play, and excuse me, wow, beer. While it is an absurdist play, the only reason I call it an absurdist play is because it's by a playwright who has been called absurd through the theater of the absurd world. Absurdism itself is just taking the lines and the stage directions and everything that has at face value. I don't know if this is so contradicting. This is why I hate and love absurdism, because absurdism can be interpreted in so many different ways. Absurdism can be taken personally. It can be taken socially. It can be taken so many absolute ways to its fullest extent. But once you put a name on it, once you put a full idea of like, I want you to get the message that I fully see, it takes away what absurdism is. So it's painful. It's thoroughly painful to like want to make it epic theater, which I want to do personally. If I directed this, I would make it epic theater and have some regards, but not a lot of regards to it.
Well, I think that's the beauty of this, of the theater of the absurd, is kind of, it is, specifically when talking about this play, it is all of the things that we talk about. There's a reason Ionesco doesn't name rhinoceros as a social disease or a personal disease or anything like that. He lets it be what it is. So not only is it in the hands of as a director, as a performer, but it's also in the eyes of the audience. You can leave this play and feel so many different ways and feel like it connects to so many different things, as we've touched upon through all of this. So my last question as we wrap up this is very, very simple. This is a beautiful example of absurdist theater. Is there any logic in it? I broke Tyler.
You broke him.
Oh no! Don't talk to me first.
I think one of the things that I love about it that I will touch upon very quickly as we wrap up here is just the answer is in the logician's speech in the beginning. The speech is taking logic to an absurd conclusion that everything with 4 legs is a cat, but maybe everything with 6 legs is also a cat. And there's so much in it. What Ionesco, I think, is trying to get at is life is absurd. You can try to find the logic in there, but logic will only lead you far before you reach an absolutely absurd conclusion. Socrates is a cat because Socrates is dead and cats die. Therefore, Socrates, cat.
I kind of, I feel like I may need a little more time to think on it, but for the sake
That's
of,
okay.
for the sake
Thank
of
you
like
guys for your time.
wrapping this up, I kind of feel like even with what you said about the rhino disease, everyone changes or metamorphs into a rhino for a different reason. There is no logic behind necessarily the metamorphosis. It's just a result of that community beehive thinking. But as we've already touched on, out of all the characters, there isn't one really like underlining reason for the metamorphosis. So I think like along that, it's another example of how he's just kind of saying like life isn't logical, it's just it is what it is, and you either conform or you stand alone as an individual, and you can be like how Durer was, be on the sidelines of life. The meaning of life is really up to you. You decide how life is going to be, and it's not a black and white thing. So that's kind of the message that I got through it. Like, don't look for the logic. It's just you define the your place in life and what life it should be for you.
I think that's a great point. Andre and Tyler.
I want Tyler to go last because he'll
I mean, I don't know if I'll do that, but go ahead.
He'll take
Well, I didn't give it to you. Now
Over
you're gonna have to
the
do that. But I was just thinking about if there isn't logic in this, the audience will walk away trying to find the logic because that's just what we do. Like
Yeah.
when we read plays, they can be extremely absurd and crazy, and we still try to map it out in our brain. And to bring it to Shio's point about life is very crazy. And it's no matter how you try to make sense of it, it's just gonna happen anyway. You know what I mean? And maybe that's what the whole rhino thing is and why it happens to everyone. And it doesn't matter what type of personality or how much they fight it. It's just like it's something that is happening, and it's there. It'll be, and that's what life is. You just can't believe some of the things that happen in life, but it happens. It's there, and that's all you can. You have to roll with it or conform to it, and that's what I taking away from all this. Tyler.
Tyler, go ahead.
Andre, I'm low key mad because you truly summarize it beautifully. And I wish you went last because you truly summarize it perfectly. So I'm going to sound very logical and stupid, honestly, at this.
No.
Shio and Andre hit it really hard. You talk about how people will possibly, I mean, well, Andre specifically talked about how people perceive things differently. You could easily have two people in the audience of this show. One person who is pro-Trump and one who is anti-Trump. They will take away the same thing, but differently. Somebody who was like, oh yeah, everybody's going with the anti-Trump world, but I stay pro-Trump. And then everybody who will be, oh, everybody's going with the pro-Trump world, but I will stay anti-Trump and continue to voice my opinions and values. Both of them genuinely valid in their values and their practice and what they feel. Because you can't deny people and their truth, because truth is absolute. It's absolute to the person given. They believe this and it is their truth.
Amen.
They believe this is their truth.
Amen.
And absurdism is truly the pinnacle of truth in the full grand scheme of it. Anybody can watch it and be like, rhinoceros are taking over the world. That's it. People who work and or observe or are pros of absurdism say, that is what it is. The end. Rhinoceros are taking over the world. Whether that's a physical rhinoceros to you, it could be a personal rhinoceros to you, a truthful rhinoceros to you. And rhinoceros can come in many shapes, sizes, and creeds. And we cannot, unfortunately, deny them of their rhinoceros worlds. But we can stand against it, whether we believe it's true or not. Because what did I say? Truth is absolute to us. And whether I believe Trumpism is something that should encompass this whole country is its own thing. My truth stands. Their truth stands. And while that might sound conformist, it is honestly what the absurdists write. And that is that.
And the truth is, he was still the motherfucking president. Ain't that crazy?
You better not!
Also,
Thank you for coming.
I never thought I'd be speaking so much about fucking Trump after he's been out of office.
Girl.
It comes upon us at the oddest times.
I'm not gonna lie, I'm so glad it's only
Joining
4
us.
people.
Wait,
Thank you
what
all
did you
for.
say? I did not even hear that.
I'm just so glad it's 4 people, because any more people, we would have been.
Goes off the rails.
Well, it might have been more people. I'm pretty sure more people would not have been against the personal opinions that I have. Let's be real.
No, I think everybody.
You never know, because that's how rhinos work.
Yeah.
You know what? You get this play. Andre play.
That's true.
Understands. I might be inept, but he gets it.
So thank you all for joining us for this discussion. If you'd like to be a part of it, please come and join us at CastableNYC. You can find us on Instagram at CastableNYC. If you'd like to be a part of it, please send us an email at CastableNYC@gmail.com, and we will see you all again soon.
Yay.
Oh, God. My ass hurts from this play.
During
Your
his
ass hurts.
I just sat. I didn't.
Stood a little bit. Stand up for what you believe in.
I couldn't turn off my camera at any point because I picked the role that was in every scene.
Well,
You still could have stood up for what you believe in. That doesn't take.
I am now stopping the recording, so this will all be in.